Hello, it's Caroline again. I'm here with another demonstration using Mama Make's new stamps. Now this image was the first one that I used, and to me she was screaming out to be a superhero. That's just my take on it. So that's what I'm going to use her as you'll see later on in the demonstration. Again, there's loads of words to be used on the images, so I shall go through those later. First of all, we're going to use a jelly plate. So I've got a A4 piece of a canvas. I've already put some gesso on it. So what I'm going to do with my jelly plate, using Distress Oxides again, I'm just going to squish on some Salty Ocean, some broken china. I'm not completely covering it, as you will see, and then finally some cracked pistachio, just a little bit of that. Now that is a bit contaminated, so what I would do with that is use a piece of sponge and then get rid of that through a stencil at a later date. So what I'm going to do is I've got my board all primed, and I'm just going to pop that on there and squidge. Now the board is slightly bigger than the jelly plate, but I'm not bothered about that at all. There we go. Peel that off and you've got that. So then I'm just going to add some water and let it do its thing. There we go. So I'll let it run. Sorry if I've gone off camera there. Keep adding water until you're happy. Now as you can see, the edges a bit white, so I'll just go down on the jelly plate again, add in some more colour, and you keep doing that until you're happy. Now I quite like that. So what I would do is just leave that to dry on its own. If you wanted a bit more movement, you could always use your heat gun just to directional the drops and everything. So we'll pop that to one side. I've then got a piece of card, watercolour card again, and I'm going to use that to mop it up, because we're going to be using this bit shortly as well. Add a little bit more water. There we go. Again, pop that to one side to dry, and then that's the jelly plate all done with. Okay, so I've had to speed up this demo a bit, so I've had to do a bit of prep beforehand. So here's my dried canvas using the technique with the jelly plate. I've then got a couple of stencils that I've got in my stash, circular. I wanted to use circles, and I've gone through with some of the Salty Ocean broken china and then gesso, and then just to add some texture I've also gone through with some texture paste. I wanted a circular stamp but I didn't have one, so what I did, got my VersaFine Clear, and I'd got an old jar of wax, and I'd kept the pot. So here's my old lid, and I've just loaded it up with ink and using it that way. So as you can see, just adding a bit of dark blue, just adding more and more layers to your canvas. That's all obviously been dried, so we'll pop that to one side just for now while we do a bit of work on an image. So here's, I'm calling her Superwoman because that's, in my little mind, that's who she is. So again, I'm going to use VersaFine Clear, ink her up, and stamp her out. What I did think with this is would be good. Can you remember when we were kids and you used to get a magazine and there'd be a outline of a man and a woman, and you'd have clothes that you could dress them up, and you used to have tabs at the back so you'd fold it round? This would be ideal to do that sort of thing with, because you can do some paper piecing, which is what we're going to be doing later on. So that's her all stamped out. What I've then gone ahead, just to save a bit of time, is I've gone ahead using the same colours as I did before for her skin and the rosy cheeks, but I've also put a layer of vintage photo down on her hair. What we're going to do is try to give that a bit of texture, because as it is at the minute it doesn't look that brilliant, does it? So the aim is to get something similar to this. Can you see? Have I got it right? Yeah. So it looks like it's got a bit of movement and it's not all just one colour. So I've got walnut stain, vintage photo, frayed burlap, I might not use that yet, aged mahogany and a bit of wild honey. So again, I'm going to go with a little bit of walnut stain. And I'm just sort of squiggling. Probably can't see that very well. Tell you what, we'll go with my aged mahogany first, because you'll see that better. So squidge that down and then sort of make it wavy. Gone a bit on her face there, but we can sort that out later. There's no right and wrong way of doing this. It's just a case of building the layers, building the colours of the layers up. Like I said earlier, when you're at home doing it yourself, you've got loads of time. You're not up against the clock. So down this side, I'm not overthinking it. I'm just popping the colour down. I always think if you overthink it, it takes twice as long, and also it looks too neat. And let's be honest, her hair at the minute, with not being able to go to the hairdresser and everything, is not always as it should be. So I would dry in between. Again, I'm not going to use my heat gun because it's quite loud. So you can see the contrast between the vintage photo and the aged mahogany. So you can see that coming through. It's a bit pale, so I'm going to add a little bit of walnut stain. Hoping you can all see this. Again, I would normally dry in between. Let's just get some, there we go. I have got one that I've already done, so you can see what the end finish should be like. So here's one that I've already done. So you're never going to get one that's going to be the same. So as you can see, even using the same colours, there's probably a little bit of wild honey on that one, but you get something different every time, but you can see what you can build up to. So I'm going to cheat this time, just mop that little bit up with that. There we go. So forward wind, and I've done her hair. So we're going to do something a bit different this time. I'm going to do some bit of paper piecing. So with the scraps of paper, you know, the little bits that you've always got and you don't use, stamp the body of the lady and with some scraps of piece of paper, and then you can do a bit of paper piecing, which is what I've done on here. Just find my tweezers. So all those little bits of scraps and everything that you always keep, glue's bunged up now, that you always keep and you never use, well, now you can use them. So I'll pop the trousers on. Oops, pop the trousers on first. And then obviously a top's a different colour, so when you come to do another one, you've got a blue top and then the pink bottoms as well. With the top, obviously you have to cut her hands out and the chop her head off, I'm afraid. So here we go. Pop that on there, don't need a lot of glue. Pop that on there, that's it. Okie dokie. Now, as I think she's a superwoman, I'm just going to put an S on her chest in a box like that, and then I'd glaze that as well at the very, very end. Okay, so that's her done. What I'm then going to do is, you know, when we'd use the jelly plate and we use the watercolour card, bring that back in, that was what was left on her plate. What I did is I got a die, a circle die, and I'd got a world stamp, which I believe was from Lou Withers' Studio Light collection. So what I did with that waist is, that pickup, sorry, is I've die cut that out and using the image, the stamped image, pop that on there, so I've got a world. Okay. Then what we're going to do, bear with me, sorry, my arm in the way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go around with a darker colour just round this edge, so it lifts it from the, so it doesn't blend in too much from the canvas. So I'm going to have to use this because I've misplaced my black soot. So I'm just going to go around the edge with some black ink just to lift that. There we go. You don't want to go too far in, but you just need it enough around that edge so it just lifts when you pop it on your canvas, which you'll see shortly. Okay, so that's my world. And the idea is that Superwoman or Supermum or whatever she wants to be will stand, sorry, on the top, just like that. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just get a piece of tape just to make sure she sticks to that top of the world. Okay. Just like that. Just going to pop her to one side for a minute and we're going to bring the canvas back in. So we've got all these lovely word stamps that we've got on this stamp plate. So I've picked Shine Bright and Expect Miracles. There are loads of other sayings as well. If you believe anything is possible, she who is brave is free, stop wishing, start doing, confidence is the best outfit. There's loads. So what I've done, I've picked a few and I've already popped them on there. But what we're going to do is get a piece of tissue paper. This is no special tissue paper. I think it's some that come out of, you know, your shoe boxes when you get your shoes and it's in there. So I'm just going to ink it up again, these two sayings with some VersaFine, and I'm just going to stamp. Okay, just like that. It does seep through, so you just need to mop up a little bit. Okie dokie. So I've stamped those onto the tissue paper, so I'm just going to get a little bit of water, clean water preferably, and just drag my clean brush around the words. Don't flood it because it does bleed the water. And then with my finger, just going to tear it so you get a feathered edge. So never throw away your shoe boxes and never throw away the tissue paper, because it always comes in handy. Okay, and the same with that one. Just have to be careful because it is so delicate. Sometimes you can be a bit overzealous and tear your wording in half. So you can see them that well, but there we go. Oops. We've got shine bright and expect miracles. So we're going to attach them to the canvas. I'm using some gel medium. So bring the canvas back in. Get your lady in the world and decide where she's going to go. I'm just going to pop her in the middle. Okay, so as you can see, I've already put some words on. I've popped make it happen, confidence is the best outfit, amazing, that's you. Because it's a transparent tissue paper, you can see the colouring through at the bottom as well, so it all blends in, so it doesn't look like it's something stuck on the top of it. So where are we going to pop this? So I'm going to pop expect miracles there. So I'll get my gel medium, pop some on the canvas with an old brush, pop your tissue paper on, and then from the middle outwards brush that over. So as you can see, that's blended right in. And then I've got shine bright, which I should pop up the top here. I'm just going to turn that round, sorry. Get a bit more gel medium, pop that on. You can go over the edge, it doesn't matter. And from the outside, inside working out, sorry, pop that on there. Okay, so you've got your wording in on your canvas as well. It's just adding layers to it. You could then always go around the outside with some ink, black, whatever colour, or a dark blue. You could also put some wax on it as well. For time, I'm just going to pop her on there. A little bit of glue. 3D glue, just so it adds, so it's not as flat. There you go. Pop that on there, just like that. And there is that finished piece. What you can also do, which is what I've done, I've made a card to go with it as well. Same thing, but you can just play around with your colours. You could make that background quite psychedelic as well if you wanted. You know, the sky's the limit. So enjoy playing with the new Mama Makes stamps. Thank you, bye.